Okay, come here, I got something to show you. When you're dealing with an older car, like I am, you have to contend with the old technology of the day. Now, back in 1966, the best thing that you could get for your headlights would be halogen bulbs. And that was considered to be the apex. That was the best you could buy. Well, things have obviously changed. We have LEDs equipped in pretty much all cars that are produced today, and thankfully you also have these kits that will allow you to switch out your old halogen bulbs for LED style. So I picked up these two from Octane lighting. Each one of these contains two of the bezels, and I guess there are a couple of bulbs that are in them, although they are not LEDs. I also purchased from Octane Lighting a set of LED bulbs for each one of these, and we're going to make the conversion today. With any luck, it should go fairly smoothly. Now, in order to keep this short and sweet, I've already done 3 of these, but we're going to concentrate on this 4th one. Like I said, these bulbs come with a halogen bulb in them, the bezels themselves. So you just have to remove the rubber grommet, come down in here and undo this guy, like so. This pops out. That's your halogen bulb that you don't want. Not really sure why they include those, but they do. And then what we have here is the LED bulb that is going to go in. Now, there's only one way these can go in. If you look at the tabs on the back, you see these are two closer together than the ones on these sides. So they only go in one way, like so. And you can just pop them back on and put the clip in. Now, what you do next, once that clip is in, there we are, is you have to take this bulb out so that you can get this bezel back on. And then you set it back inside and you kind of fiddle with it until, there we are, and give it a little twist. And now you can take the bezel and make sure that it's cupped all the way around and everything fits right. And there you have it. You're all set. Now, each one of these boxes came with 2 bezels, and each box came with one of these converter plugs. These are important because if, in my case, I have the quad headlights, that means that I have the high beams. The high beams take 2-prong connections, whereas the low beams are the standard 3-prong. So the folks over at Octane Lighting supply each box with one of these. So in essence, you're getting a low beam and a high beam, if you will. If you have any questions about that, just put them down in the comments and I can answer them to the best of my ability. It does make this a little bit longer, so there's going to be some tucking in order to make sure all of this stuff works. But this is all set up now, and I have all 4 done. We can move over to the car and start installing. Okay, so I've taken one headlight out here, and I'm about to get this one connected. You see, I've got a whole lot of cord here, so I'm hoping this will stuff back in without too much trouble. The other thing I noticed too is, you see on these lights, they have these tabs, and they're supposed to hook up with these tabs that are in the bezel. I saw on the reviews for these lights that there was a fair amount of criticism on how well those things would tend to mate up. And so we're going to see. Based on what I'm seeing here, it doesn't look like It doesn't, well, maybe. I'm going to push that all back in there and see if we can get this all to fit in. These are supposed to pop into here, like so. And you know what? They look like they kind of fit. I'll get this bezel back on and we'll check it out. Okay, we're just getting them tightened down now. I went off camera to get these screws in because it was going to require two hands, and I'm sure you guys don't really care about how I put the screws in. There we go. Tighten these back in. Just as a test, I am going to connect the battery up, and we'll see how they look. Put the negative back on. Turn this off. Make sure they work. Well, so there we have it. That is quite a bit brighter. Compare these with those. That's quite a bit of a difference. Now, I do want to point something out here. You see these two screws here. You notice that one is a Phillips head and the other one is a blade. This is true on my car. I'm assuming it's true on most of the quad headlight GMs. That blade screw is the one that holds the bezel on. This guy over here is the one that aims the light. So be careful when you're taking these off. Make sure that you get the correct one on there screwed off, because you could essentially be putting the aiming on your light out of kilter if you choose the wrong one. I'm going to go ahead and switch the high beam on this one, and we'll go from there. There. Okay, we've got the high beam out. Notice that this, like I said earlier, there's two prongs on this one. That distinguishes the high beam. That is why when you get this kit, they give you this one converter plug. It takes this 3-prong and it brings it down to 2. It's what you need for the high beams, and makes it a little longer, but it looks to me like I've got some room back there to push this all in. So we'll go ahead and get that installed. So I was able to get everything in properly. The problem was not so much with those tabs as it was with the spring on this side that was causing problems. So what I did was I took this bezel and I removed that spring over here and then reattached everything and then rehooked up the spring. The spring is a little tricky. I just used this little hook thing to grab onto it and pull it out and get it set in there. I think you could probably do it with a needle nose, but when I tried, I kept losing it and losing the grip on it. So I just switched over to that. Seems to be working. And now we can try it and make sure that the brights are working on that side. Dim. Everything seems to be working. Now we'll move over to the other side. Okay, we got the spring in. Looks like it's ready to go. Let's have a look-see and see what they look like. Here's your low beams, and the high beam. Coming up next. There's your high beam. Down to the low beams. Now the hum that you hear, that you may hear when those turned on, I believe is a fan that is a cooling fan for the lights. And so when you switch them on, the fan goes on automatically. Now the last thing that you have to do before you put all the trim back together is make sure that these are aimed properly. Your halogen bulbs are of a different brightness than these guys, and you can't just make the assumption that the same adjustments are going to be okay for these new LED bulbs. They're a lot brighter and they have a pattern that spreads a lot wider. Okay, so I did not show the part where I was aiming these lights. That's something that you can pick up on YouTube as far as videos on the how-tos for aiming the different headlights. Very easy to do. You just need about 25 feet of space where you can have your car on a level surface, and then you do some measurements on the center line of the car to the outside headlight, and then you do the same thing for the inside headlight. You mark that on both sides against a flat surface on the wall, and then when you turn the lights on, you can adjust them accordingly. Like I said, there's a lot of YouTube videos that show how to do that. So I'm not going to go into that portion of it. Needless to say, I will say that the one that really needed adjustment was the driver's side low beam. That one was very, very high in comparison with the one on the passenger side. So I had to bring that one down quite a bit. The high beams looked okay on their own, and the passenger side low beam seemed alright. So there really wasn't a whole heck of a lot of adjustment that I had to make for these. Overall, I'm pretty happy with the way that they run. They definitely are a lot brighter, and I'll probably be going out later on this evening and trying them out. So I took it for a quick spin, and the lights are working great. They're a lot brighter than the old halogen ones. So I would call this a rousing success. We will see you on the next video. Thanks for watching.